I'm nervous this morning. I do feel nervous. So I'm driving the vintage caravan to the glass shop in Gisborne. There seems to be two. I got quotes from both and I've gone for the cheapest. And that's to cut some new glass for the front and install it, and then redo the back with new rubbers. Because I kind of heard that it's tricky replacing the rubbers, and I don't really want to risk breaking some glass when it costs, you know, how much would it cost? Maybe $400 for the glass? I don't know. So my plan is I still need to do the smaller windows, and I'm going to do those on my own later on. I've already got the rubber, but at the same time it's going to be really nice to get the glass replaced and feel like it's a proper caravan again. And I guess I'm nervous that of driving. It's a 20-minute drive and there is a 100-kilometer stretch, and I'm worried about the tarp giving way. So that's my nervousness, I guess. Well, I made it. So the tarp held up really well. It was actually ended up being the door that I was more worried about. Yeah, it was really catching the wind as I was driving along. Like, they are nice here. They're a friendly bunch. And having a talk with one guy, he said he's already replaced glass on 4 vintage caravans in 2 weeks. I ended up talking about what do people replace the glass with? Sounds like it's always glass. And I talked about getting a film on, and it was going to cost maybe $200 to get them to put the film on, or they could sell me the film. So I'm now thinking maybe I could give it a go myself, just to protect it a little bit more. But it looks good with the tarp off, right? It's starting to look like a caravan again. Well, they were super fast. It's about 1:30. Just got a phone call saying the vintage caravans are ready to pick up. Isn't that nice? It's a lot nicer. I feel like it's had that tarp on it way too long. I've kind of forgotten what it looked like without it. And a huge thank you to Thomas, Carrie, Robert, Victor, Tim and Brett for helping contribute towards this glass. Made it back in one piece. As you can see, the door held until the very end, and then I went over a bump and all of the cloth tape just came away. So, oh, bee on me. So this door was doing this. There's a bee that really likes me. Anyway, and I'm aware that I really need a little bit more chain for the safety chain. It's just not quite long enough. I actually took out this window near the start for paint stripping. From what I can tell, you want to squeeze it up and push it inwards. I'm also taking out these rubbers and replacing them with new because they are just too old. So each of the vintage caravans seems to have a different shape rubber. So I looked at the previous one and it looked like this. I purchased this, and then I found out that you can get variations of this with the different width in there. So I suspect this is just a little bit too wide. And a huge thank you to Robert for contributing the rubbers. It's doing weird things in the corners. And the last part is the filler to keep the window in place. and it's best with 2 people, 1 on either side. Hayden was pretty good at like having a good pressure on the glass while I had this on the other side and just slotted that rubber in. So I'm actually heading into Gisborne to get this little bit of glass cut. It's now lockdown level 3, which means we can order online and do a little bit of shopping if there's a contactless option. And I'm also going to get a film for this front window. Actually, it's a strange feeling going into town like this after being in lockdown level 4 for so long. Well, that was super fast. They cut it all while I was just there. So I've got it in the car, and while I'm in town I am going to go for a walk on the beach. I can't wait. I've missed this. Strolling somewhere in nature on my own is just kind of my recharge time, I think. Just how I like it. Well, I went and got the glass. Hayden went to Bunnings and picked up our online order. Super exciting to get hardware again. So it's about 1 PM and the sun's only just reaching our camp now. This really is a summer camp, not a winter camp. I'd say it's late autumn here. All the leaves are going yellow and starting to drop off. So I'm starting to feel keen to move. So now I've got the Bunnings purchases, I feel like I can actually start diving into this a little bit more. So before I put the window in, I have decided I'm going to paint this after all the time it's taken to get back to this. Partly because I'm just not happy with how it's turning out. It's not quite how I had envisaged, really. But the other main reason is I think it's letting some leaks in. I want to be able to properly seal this and make sure that no water is getting in. Particularly, I think there's one seam there that I think water is getting in. Today I'm just going to paint this tiny little area and around the other window. So when I checked out the painted area this morning, there were lots of bubbles all over it, which made me a bit concerned. So I actually sent off an email to this paint company to ask their thoughts on it. Luckily, the bubbles seemed to just disappear as the day progressed, and I got an email back. It does sound like maybe the product was affected by condensation or high humidity before it became water resistant. And another possibility is that maybe I didn't prepare the surface well enough. One of the tips I got from the glass shop was to use this baby shampoo. So apparently I can put this all around the rubber and it will help slip the glass into place. You really do need 2 people for this job. People. And I figured out that the screwdriver seemed to nick the rubber, and yeah, it was just a bit too harsh for it. In the end, this spoon, this tip, was the best tool. The glass shop, their corners are perfect, my corners are a bit wobbly, and I'm wondering what you do. If I put a hairdryer on it, will it firm it up and kind of make it sit flat on the glass? Yeah, there is definitely a skill with putting the rubbers in. So I think today is the day I'll put the film on the window. Apparently it's a job best with 2 people, and you use a whole lot of baby shampoo all over the place too. And the other tip I was given was to use a credit card at the end to kind of squeeze out all of the moisture at the end. I'm probably squirting you. Bee hanging out. It's on. In a way it was easier to put on than I had been worrying about. I think I put on too much of the baby shampoo, but at the same time it's picking up quite a lot of marks that I think are going to be there the whole time that film's on. But it's on. At least it's got a bit more protection on the front, right?